My fellow gamers, I have been busy. And so have the guys at Sector 3 Studios. If you don't know who Sector 3 are, they are the lost souls that are responsible for Raceroom Racing Experience. A sim that I think is sort of maybe a little bit slept on. So slept on, in fact, that I might have forgotten to add it to the tier list. It's always been a sim that I've enjoyed when not driving GT3 cars. They're very good at doing sort of specialist cars. And talking of specialist cars, you've probably seen the news by now and the title of this video, but that's right, mine and Gordy's Praga R1, the Goldie 2.0, along with the rest of the Praga field, is now in Raceroom. And I say is now because I have sort of early access to it. You guys will have access to it soon, I'm sure. I can't tell you how surreal it is to see a car that I've raced in real life now be sort of first-party official content in a sim game. When I started doing this sim stuff, I would pick the car that I drove based on the real-life drivers that had driven it. So it kind of feels very odd now for that to go full circle, and now I'm the man in the game. I'm the raceman. Me. Oh god. The reason why I said that I've been busy is because myself, alongside Gordy, and I think Chris Bridle as well, have given our input to try and make this car as realistic as possible for you guys at home. Now, I'm not taking credit for the majority of work. No way, definitely not. But I figured, given that it's like a long-standing tradition to take new interesting cars to a fun circuit, that I'm going to lap Goldie 2.0 in Raceroom around the Nordschleife and see what sort of time that we could do if we ever took a Praga to the Nürburgring. So yeah, here is the car, and it is just so odd seeing it in game. Every stick is in the right place, every color is correct on the car, of course. I've got my helmet in there as well. It is just Goldie 2.0. I've always thought the Raceroom kind of lacks graphically, but the car looks spot on. Even the interior is pretty damn close as well, but we'll get into that a bit more in a minute. And here we are in game with all the Pragas from this season, whoever race who, pretty much. So cool to see all these cars sort of laid out like this. If we go to the next page, it's us! There it is! I don't know how I picked Gordy yet, but I'm happy to be on the same page as my long-term rival, Ben Collins.
Yeah, whatever. I'll get you next time, Broadbent.
What a loser. How cool is this? Look at it! Man, that is cool to see. You know what? I'm going to actually pick something out. And this is something that Jack Fabby noticed. I guess the nuts on the wheel there, the center lock, they're meant to be blue, not red. Unplayable! Yeah, everything's in the right place. Steering wheel is pretty much the same. The display is slightly different though on the wheel. All these buttons up top are mostly right. This is a work in progress, this build, so please ignore the hazard at the top. If I'm going to be a real stickler, it says that our chassis number is 117, and in the real life car there was a please no Punterino sticker down there, but otherwise pretty fucking good. So before I go out, I do have to put a big disclaimer, is that I'm on the work in progress build. This is not the finished product that you guys will be getting. I think the sound's going to be slightly different, a couple of little mini fixes and tweaks. But in terms of driving, in terms of how it feels, we're pretty damn close to this. So yeah, we're going to take it around the Nordschleife, try and put in the lap time and just talk about it while we go around. And onto circuit we go. This is very, very odd. We're inside the Praga R1, so if you're unfamiliar with the car, let me throw some specs at you. Praga quote about 365 brake horsepower on the top map. I think it's 640 kilograms is the weight quoted on the website. Lots of aero, up to 3G lateral load in corners. So you have to find a very long corner to do that on. Acceleration wise, I'm not really sure, but top speed that I did in this car, about 155 mile an hour, and it can lap most circuits in the UK at a very similar pace to GT3 cars. So obviously the best thing Praga could have done was let an idiot YouTuber have a go. But already up to speed at the Nordschleife, and the thing that we wanted to sort of get over the most in this car to you guys is that this car is not planted. We're right in the limit of the RPM now. This is about the fastest I've been in this car here. In the fast stuff, it's really nice. In the mid-speed, the car does move around quite a lot. It's not planted to the ground. That combined with an open differential as well at the back means that the car actually on power in slower situations can be fairly tricky. And mid-corners, a lot of hustling going on where you're really having to work the car into the corner. But stuff like this is great. Now, of course, in real life, the curbs here at the Nordschleife will be terrifying and would probably break something on this car. But we're in sim, I've got damage turned off so I can be a bit cheeky. But look, big turbo lag there. These cars are only a 2 litre, they are turbocharged, and they work best at about 5,000 RPM plus, race car style. So when you're out of the RPM range, the car is a little bit lazy. But it was like that in real life as well. That's why you might see in some of the videos where it's driven, we're absolutely revving the off this thing to try and get the performance out of it. Again, one of the things I said as well is these sounds on the car. Remember, they're not final. They will change, I think, because we've not managed to get a clean recording of the onboard of this car. But as a placeholder sound, it's kind of where it should be. It's almost there. But no traction control, no ABS in this car, nothing like that at all. So you have to be really careful when braking. It's very easy to lock a wheel in this, especially in heavy braking zones. But because it is a downforce car, you do have to mash the brake pedal in very heavy braking zones to use that aero to slow you down. So yeah, I mean, in all respects, it's pretty much a little mini prototype. You have to drive it like one. Look at it! So surreal! So surreal! It's just mad seeing this car drive around. I kind of want to sit here and look at it with like beauty shots for a while. But anyway, I should probably focus on driving it though. But yeah, for me, as you know, someone who, when I started my career in YouTube and all this kind of stuff, all this racing, real life racing, was just supremely out of reach to the point where I'd never even considered it. It was something that rich people did, something that people who have connections did, and I wasn't that person. I was a guy that worked at a supermarket stacking shelves at night. Nothing wrong with that, of course, but there was just no way of moving into this. And as time's gone on, as the careers got more and more insane, and I find myself now driving the virtual version of the car that I won a real-life championship in. And, it's not a slow car. It's a prototype, a downforce prototype. And in 2 years, somehow I went from a complete amateur to championship winner alongside one of the best coaches I could have asked for, Gordy. And it just feels like it's proper to drive this car now and do a lap on a Nordschleife. It feels like that's the proper thing to do. I realise a lot of this video isn't very structured. It's just me rambling and having a bit of a moment. But you know what? If you can't enjoy these little moments in life, then what's the point of living? What's the point of doing anything? So let's wind this thing up and go for a quick lap, shall we? So we're seeing now, we're going to get up to sort of max speed, 255 k's at about 160, 155 mile an hour, I think. Editor Chan, please show the people. Yeah. And of course, I'm looking for that time in the top left. So we're going to try and get the lap together. I'm going to try and talk you through it best I can. And hopefully, we can get a respectable time on the board. I'm not sure what sort of time to expect. Somewhere in the 6-minute range. Maybe a high 6. Right, okay, so let's try and set a decent lap in our Praga R1 in Goldie. That's not a good start. That's not a good start. Anyway, here we go, across the start-finish line. First brake, don't lock up. Oh, Jimmy, where are you going? It's okay. I was just carrying the speed. That's what you're doing. You have to know, of course, we are on a very similar compound of tyre to the tyre we ran in real life. Very hard endurance compound. So takes a little while to warm up. When it is warm, it still doesn't really give you that much grip, so I have to keep that in mind for these first few corners. A little bit slidey, it's okay. Having to make sure we use the most of the turbo as well. This car, very, very peaky. Right now, I kind of want a gear in between second and third out there, but we're okay. Revving the car out as well as we did in real life. This car revs to about 7,000 RPM in real life. We only really revved it to 6.5 most of the time, but there was definitely more power and that extra 500 RPM, but you want to try and keep the engine healthy, etc. This is where we're going to start losing time over a lot of other cars. We have a sort of very firmly set top speed, 255 kph. And at this speed anyway, the car is struggling with the power it has to push through the drag that the aero produces. Oh, a bit slippy down here there. Okay, managed not to send it off the course. We go downhill. So cool to see my name in game with the number there. That's pretty cool. And again, right in the limiter at the top. Probably wouldn't be able to do that in real life, I don't think, but we can do it in sim. And this car is all about carrying speed, which I'm not really doing right now. This is where it would be quicker than sort of GT3 cars. Those middle speed corners and very high speed corners, this car It's all about carrying that speed through. It takes longer to get to that speed. Don't have the power that the GT3s have, but you can just about match them if you are brave in the corners, which is what this car's all about. Wary of locking the wheel down here in this downhill braking, so just being soft. Not the best of that from me so far, but the car is still feeling fairly predictable. Just have to give it a little bit of time to settle in some of these corners. This car not really set up for the Nordschleife either, but they get locking up on the way in there. Very difficult corner that to slow the car down for that ABS, because that inside wheel is always going to want to just pick up a little bit down the bottom. Then easy aim for the curb. Don't touch it though. Watch out for this exit curb. Nice. Aero comes on a bit through there. This is where the car is at its kind of most difficult to drive. Third gear. It's always moving about so much. It's a ton of fun to try and play with the car and try and get the most out of the slide, but it is tricky. And it can bite you in the arse. Third gear again. Just waiting for that boost to come on. There it is. Car pulls hard in real life up to about now. It starts to struggle in fifth. Sixth gear up the hill. Running the highest engine map as well, of course, for our attempt. We're going to be quick. I'm not sure what sort of time to expect. Yeah, I'm hoping for a sort of sub-7 something. I don't know whereabouts that's going to put us. It's not going to quite be flat through there. Actually, it probably could be if I had the line exactly right. Braking here is going to be tricky. I've got to mash this pedal. So 1, 2, 3, big brake. And then bleed off. There you go, that was nice. Really easy to overshoot those sort of braking zones in this car. Now carousel, again in real life we'd probably end up braking something through here, but we can send it through in the sim. Very, very bumpy. This car, if it wanted to go here in real life, would need different suspension, for sure. Probably some stronger wishbones as well. This car, this is where this car comes alive. It's such a joy to thread it through here, and it really does feel like the real thing in the way you have to just let it settle and you have to wrestle it a little bit. It's not a traditional aero car where it's just stuck to the floor like a, a Radical, for example. This is, you have to really throw it around, and that brutality of having an extra 100 so horsepower over something like a Radical, you really feel it in this car. Just a bit more spicy everywhere. Ah, Jimmy, there's an Apex there you should have been on, mate. Welcome back to yet another edition of Jimmy Misses an Apex. And episode 4 billion. Okay, it's still good. Last part of the course now. Again, that would just destroy the car in real life if we didn't lift there. There you go, nice, nice, nice. Understeering through a bit, it's okay, car's turning still. This will be such a massively fast section in the Praga through here. It'll be terrifying. On board for a sub-7 for sure. I'm not sure where we're going to be, whereabouts in the 6s we're going to be. Difficult through here because the road cambers in a way and it moves the car around. You can really feel that. You can feel how light this car is in some of these corners. Just gets thrown about. The open diff there doing its job out the corner of not doing its job. Little tap of the brakes. Probably could have just lifted for that. Bring her in to the inside. Now we go flat down the straight. Not a bad lap, okay. We're on for a decent time, I think. Maybe a mid-6 somewhere. This is where you want this is where you want another 200 horsepower or so, or you want some more gearing. We're gonna just sit here now, pretty much on the limit what the car can do. I think of the limiter, we're using that full 365 horsepower, but the amount of aero we've got is just we can't push through. We need more power for that, but it's okay. 610 coming up on the timer now. Come on. Really easy to mess up this last corner. So I'll make sure I've got to brake fairly well for it. So pick it. Just about slow it down in time there. And now remember the lines at the back here, Jimmy, so don't mess it up. To the line, it's going to be a 6:30 something, 6:32, and bonk. I had to send it. I had to send it across the line there. But 6:32 in the Praga around the Nordschleife. This car is quite quick, it turns out. The thing is, when you're driving it, it doesn't feel like it's this like insane mental prototype. But then you see the lap time, and you're like, oh gee, oh man. I would say, like, from my point of view, the car could use a bit more in terms of audio. I know this is only work in progress, this sound so far, but it just lacks a bit of that brutality of the real thing. And it's always hard to do onboard race car sounds because they tend to all sound a bit blown out. That's sort of part of the joy of driving this car. I once drove this car without my in-ears in by mistake, and it was awesome. Also deafening, but it feels a bit muted in this. But in terms of how it drives, I think we've done an alright job. You know, it feels pretty similar to the real thing. There's a lot of work you have to do mid-corner. It isn't just turn in, turn out. There's a bit of hustling going on, and the way it sort of bogs out of corners on the open diff and being off boost, that's all stuff we had to contend with in the real car. So really awesome to see this in Raceroom and have someone, I don't know, take it seriously and make a good version of it that we have now as first party content. It's awesome. I am blown away by it. But yeah, that was our Praga R1 Goldie in Raceroom. Available for you guys soon. I'm not sure when this video is going to go out, but I know this. I think the release date for this is like the 14th of December. So if it's before then, coming out soon. If it's after then, hope you're enjoying. Big thank you to the guys at Raceroom for getting me involved in this and trusting me to give feedback on what is a fairly important car for them, I imagine. And yeah, thank you guys for letting me make what is a fairly self-indulgent video where I just enjoyed that this car exists in a sim. Hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Take care, have an awesome day. See you next time.